I'm not inviting Daniel for the moment. I know that everyone is waiting here. The presentation of the brand new Thorium 3.
Okay, microphone. Hello, everybody. Okay, without further ado. So, my name is Daniel Weck. I work with the DAISY Consortiums, our good friends for the last couple of days, and I see a few of my friends in the room now, and EDRLab. I'm a software engineer, which means I write code, and occasionally I come out of my programmer's cave and I speak to people at conferences and I deliver good news or exciting news. So that's why I'm here today. I'm going to be talking about Thorium Reader, and version 3, which is on the launch pad. It should be ready within a week or so to ship. So most of you are probably familiar with Thorium, so I'll be quick. I'll gloss over some of the details, but it is a desktop app for Windows, Mac, and Linux. And in a nutshell, it's an application that allows you to browse and import publications using online OPDS feeds or from local files on your computer or local storage. Optionally, these publications can be protected with LCP for loans or sales, loans in the context of a library or just outright sales. Thorium allows you to organize your local publications inside an offline bookshelf. So you can be cut off the internet and have access to all your books, including LCP books. And we have a sophisticated library user interface that enables users to search, filter, sort publications depending on their metadata. And of course, finally, it's an application that allows you to read your publications, place bookmarks, create annotations. This is a new feature, which I will be showing you later on. Navigate by page, again, a feature I will demonstrate. Search text in publications, use personalized formatting for your text documents, color, font, spacing, and so forth. We support text-to-speech as well and many other features. So I will gloss over many of the details. I only have a short time here, but I've prepared a demonstration to showcase some of the more important ones. So Thorium supports a number of publication formats. Our primary focus is EPUB ebooks, of course, the latest incarnation, EPUB 3 more specifically, but we also support DAISY digital talking books, audiobooks using the W3C and Readium formats, digital comics via the Divina format, and additionally PDF files. This is not our main focus, but we do allow you to open your PDF files in Thorium. And optionally, any of these formats can be protected using LCP. If we look into a greater level of detail, we support reflowable publications, fixed layout publications, not just PDF, but also EPUB fixed layout. As I said early on, we implement synthetic speech, TTS. Also, pre-recorded or pre-generated audio tracks and tracks synchronized with text. The technical name for this is EPUB media overlays, and it comes from the DAISY world, the ability to listen to text as well as to look at the highlights as the text is spoken. So we set ourselves a pretty high bar when it comes to usability and accessibility. We don't claim to be the best out there when it comes to accessible reading systems, but we do certainly do our best to meet the requirements. So, for example, we aim to offer visual appeal, as you'll see in the demonstration, as well as an intuitive design that's easy to grasp. We always aim to meet color contrast requirements as well, as per the W3C specifications, WCAG in particular, WCAG. We avoid unnecessary animations or motion in our user interface. we support mouse and keyboard interaction. We constantly test that this works well. And we also ensure screen reader compatibility. And for those who can't see, I've got 3 icons on there at the bottom of the slide. There's large print, there's audio, and there's tactile braille, just to indicate, the different ways people consume media. Thorium is translated in 25 languages. We're very lucky to have an active community of translators in this project. I'm not going to read them all, but I know you're all very smart, and you've noticed there's only 23 languages in that slide. That's because 2 of them are Portuguese, which is spoken in Brazil as well as Portugal, and Chinese, and we have support for traditional as well as simplified Chinese, so that's an extra 2. Thorium is free, it's open source. If you have one link, a web link to remember, it's thorium.edrlab.org, and that's the hub that will take you to various different places, such as, if I can get there. Yes, so this is the page, thorium.edrlab.org. From there, you can download and install Thorium. You can then jump into the documentation. I'm glad to say we do have documentation, but we do need translators to help us translate it, so bear that in mind. And we also have a space for all the open source code and documentation at GitHub. At GitHub, you will be able to file bug reports, to send us feedback, and to chime in some of our discussions about technical or UX details. And without further ado, I'll go back to the presentation now. There we are. And it's time for a demo. So my slide deck's quite short. I really wanted to go straight to the demo. And for that, I prepared new Thorium, Thorium 3. This is a, oh, no, thank you. Okay, the first thing you'll notice, it's dark, and that's because it's in dark mode, when you've got a black background and white text, let's say. And that's because my personal preference on my computer is to use dark mode. Now, in a bright lit room like today, I will actually switch to light mode. This is not ideal for me, and I don't think it's great for you either. So I'm going to the settings, appearance, and I'll choose light. That's better. All right, so this is the new, whilst I'm here, this is the new settings panel for Thorium. Those of you who know that it's, in Thorium 2, it's a little wonky, it's not great. So we've greatly improved the user interface, made it consistent across the board. It looks nicer, it feels nicer, and it's as accessible as it used to be. Fingers crossed. So, from here, I can set the language. As I said, 25 languages are supported, and we have a language picker. So if I type in JA, it shows Japanese. So you don't have to look into a gigantic list of languages. You can just type your favorite language. And by default, of course, we use the operating system's language. From here, I can also configure the keyboard shortcuts just as before. It's just hopefully better in terms of its usability now. Okay, so let's continue to explore the user interface. I will stay in this window, which we call the library window, and that's where I have access to my local bookshelf, as well as remote online catalogs, and obviously we support the OPDS standard for this. So the main homepage is a simplified view of my bookshelf. I may have hundreds of books, if not more. This only shows a small selection, the books that I'm currently reading and the books that I recently added and I haven't started to read yet. It's a pretty standard welcome page, if you will. I can then go to my local bookshelf to see what we call the grid view. And that shows me all of the publications, and they're paginated, so you don't have to scroll, hundreds of miles down the page to see them all. They're all paginated. And from here, I can search metadata just by entering a keyword, and it will look for titles, authors, all kinds of metadata. And if I'm an advanced user or an expert user, and I don't mind a great level of detail, I can switch to the table view, and from there, I have a denser, information-rich view of my bookshelf with columns and rows. I can search individual fields, such as, for example, title, author, how many days are remaining in my LCP-protected publications if I have loans, active loans, all sorts of interesting things which I don't have time to explore with you now. So I'll switch over to the last tab in the user interface. And this is live, it's just connected to the network now and refresh the page. This is an OPDS feed, which I chose for this demonstration. And it shows me all the books that have the keyword last voyage in them. And there is a particular one that I wanted to show you, which is this one. So this is the information pop-up window, let's say, for this book. And I'd like you to focus on the left-hand side. Now, I should be able to zoom in, but I'm going to have to drop the microphone a little bit. Yes. Okay, it works. So I've zoomed into the buttons on the left-hand side here. So I can see that the book costs €9 and I can buy it. Now, you won't be buying it from inside Thorium. We'll take you to a website where you can complete your purchase. And it's the same with loans as well, library loans. Or I can import an extract of this book if I want to have a taste of it. Now I'm going to stay in this zoomed in view because I want you to focus on the accessibility section here. So this book contains metadata, and you heard about this earlier today, about the various accessibility features or non-features that it has. And this book claims to contain printed book pagination references, and it has a summary that claims that it is conformant with WCAG level AA or A. It's out of view. Oh, yeah, there it is. Level A. All right, so I'll zoom out now. Okay, and I'm back. So I've already imported it in my local bookshelf. I won't do it again just in case the network crashes, but it's there. And whilst we're talking about accessibility metadata, I have another book here which has a few more interesting properties. So this one claims to be TTS and screen reader friendly. It also has printed page numbers, and it has no flashing hazard, no motion simulation, no sound, that sort of thing. Okay, so speaking of pages, well, that's a good segue. Let's move into this book here called Children's Literature. And so for the first time in this demonstration, we're going to open the reader view, or the reader window. That's it. So I'm now in a book that I know contains page numbers, because I've tried it before. So I can demonstrate this to you. There we are. Again, I will zoom into the left-hand side here. So these are authored page numbers. You can see 169 here, 170. So the content creators, the publishers for this particular book, it's EPUB, decided to include page breaks as visible blocks of information between paragraphs in the text, let's say. That's an option. You can also hide page numbers. And you can also insert page numbers in the middle of text, because in printed books, sometimes you get to the bottom of the page and you're halfway into a sentence and you move into the next page to continue reading your sentence. So these printed pages are accessible through the go-to page user interface control here. And I know that page number 178, because I tried it before, gets us in the middle of a sentence. Let me zoom into this. There we are. So here we have page 178 between word the and following. Obviously, visually, it's debatable as to whether that's a good idea, but that's the book I found that has page numbers this way. In Thorium, when we play this with synthetic speech, we actually skip the page break, so it doesn't interrupt the flow of the reading experience, or the listening experience in this case. Let me just zoom out and play this for you. There we are. So the sound is off intentionally because it distracts me, but it is playing. And on the screen you can see that words are highlighted inside the current sentence. And it's too fast here, you can't see it, but it has skipped the page break. And this is configurable if you want to listen to page breaks or other skippable things like notes in chapters, in documents. That's possible too. So it's completely configurable. Okay, so going back to the bookshelf. We've just seen, for a short moment here, some synthetic speech read aloud experience. And I want to replicate that in a different book, this one here. It's The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. I love this book as a test book for TTS because it's primarily English, but it contains Greek, Italian, German, Latin, all sorts of interesting languages. And it's a good way to test our synthetic speech implementation. So if I play here, you can see it's playing some Latin and it will switch over to Greek. Now, I can't hear it, you can't hear it, but believe me, it is actually speaking what you're seeing on the screen here. Okay, another thing you'll notice here, I'm still in light mode, right? If you look at the user interface, it is light mode, but the book itself, or the document itself, is shown here in black background with yellow text. That's a new feature in Thorium 3. We offer a greater selection of themes, reader themes, and you can change them from this configuration panel. We have neutral and night modes. These existed already in Thorium 2, but we've added, and sepia, of course, sepia. But we've added a different shade of sepia and a few different options, 4 different high contrast options. One is with a blue background and white text. Yes, that's the one I was on here with the yellow text. Okay. So let's now go back to another new exciting feature which I would like to demonstrate. We're jumping back into the EPUB called Children's Literature because in order to save time, I created annotations in this book. You can't see them because they're hidden, because it is possible in Thorium to hide annotations. As previously said, they can be really distracting and interrupt the reading flow. So sometimes it's nice to be able to switch things off. But I'm going to now turn them on. There they are. So I've got a bunch of random annotations. I did that 5 minutes ago just to save time. So you're seeing some red highlighted text. I don't know if you can see on this display. It's a bit faded, a bit pastel. There are words that are struck through, crossed over. There is text that's underlined and some text that's outlined as well. That's because we offer 4 different styles of highlighting: the solid background, underline, strike through, and outlined. And we offer a palette of 8 colors. They're a bit pastel. I think we're going to be revising our choice of colors here. They're not very high contrast. So you can see here I'm in a editor panel to edit existing annotations. I can add some text in this input box. So all the annotations I created previously didn't include text because I didn't have time to, but here I can add text if I want to. And adding new annotations is really simple. Just select some text. If you're a mouse user, just click on the icon, enter your text, choose the color, choose the style, underline, for example, press save. Now, if you're a serial annotator, somebody who really wants to annotate fast, and you don't have time to choose the color every time, you can do that, of course. We offer a quick mode. And we even offer an instant mode. So quick mode is, we know you prefer red, we know you prefer underline, so we're not going to ask you every time. And we know you're not really interested in entering the text every time. You might want to do it later. Instant mode is, you just have to select the text and automatically the annotation is added without any sort of extra click or keyboard shortcut. And we do have keyboard shortcuts for all of this, of course. Once you've created a few dozen, a few hundreds of annotations, it becomes very difficult to just, understand where they are, and the text becomes pretty much unreadable. So we do offer a paginated list of annotations. Here I have 31 annotations. They're paginated in short segments of 3, so that's about 11 pages. So this really helps, especially when it comes to screen readers. It really helps to be able to jump into a list and know your context. I know that I'm, at page 3 of 11 pages of annotations, and they're sorted, by date in this case, the time at which I created the annotations. Let's see. Right, okay. So, as I said earlier on, annotations can be hidden entirely, or they can be shown in the text as you see them now, and it's a little bit distracting. We offer a sort of in-between mode, which is to display them in the margins. So again, we have a shortcut for this, but here I ticked a checkbox. So now they're displayed in the margins with the colors, and if I hover my mouse cursor in those margin, on top of those margin indicators, it reveals where the annotation is, out of context, on its own in the text, which really helps the annotation process. And now I'm going to switch back to the library view because I want to see, I want to show you this not in English text, but in Arabic. Why do I want to do that? Well, because margins have a different meaning when I'm reading text from right to left. So this is Arabic, going from right to left. You can see I'm progressing the other way around. So margins, of course, have a different direction, different side. I'm going to quickly go to the Annotations tab, show all these annotations in the margin. Oops, not this one, this one. There you are. So now they show on the left. So we've already worked out internationalization for our annotation engine. And in the spirit of saving time, I'm immediately going to go to a Japanese book, Les Misérables. We're in Paris, so we should be looking at French literature. There we are. So this is a Japanese book. It's vertical writing mode, so from top to bottom, and it also is from right to left. You can see I'm scrolling from beginning to end here. And what we call the margin here in this context is at the top of the text, just before the text starts flowing down. All right, and I can show the annotations in the text as well, of course. There they are. All right, so back to the main user interface. How much time do I have? Oh, I guess I'm pretty much on time. So at this stage, I will stop here and leave a little bit of time for questions if there is time. I believe that I've got 2 minutes. Is that right?
Yes. Who has the first question? Jaime.
So that last feature can be exported some way.
The annotations?
The annotations, because I see the potential for proofreading.
Yep.
And it could be very interesting to...
Okay. So thank you very much for the segue. I promise we didn't talk before. We don't even know each other. So our roadmap is in June 2024, very soon, within the next couple of weeks, if that, we'll release version 3.0. We also aim to release within a couple of months over the summer an update based on user feedback, bug reports, and screen reader testing. That's going to be a big thing for us. Following that, sometime in the year, here on this slide, I see an extra 2 months again, version 3.2, we're aiming to implement support for shared annotations, exporting annotations from Thorium and re-importing them into another Thorium app by another user. Eventually, we'd like to support the cloud, cloud annotations and various other exciting things, but we have to iterate on this. So I guess that answers your question. Okay, so you don't have to wait for 3.0, 3.1, and 3.2. You can already try this. What I was showing you is all open source, so it's from our GitHub. And we do also publish ready-to-use executables, an installer for Windows, Mac, and Linux. The link is on the slide here. It's at our GitHub.